This is Rebecca. Thanks for tuning in to Backstage Pass. I'm here today with Joseph Stanley from The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. Thanks for joining us, Joseph.
I'm glad to be here.
Awesome. Can you tell us a little bit about your character, Bert Barricune?
Yeah, Bert is, well, he's a cowboy. He is sort of an older cowboy compared to the other two main characters. They're kind of like early 20s, if that, and he's like probably about 10 or 15 years their senior. So he's kind of like old and wizened in the ways of the West, and he's not really shy about trying to tell people what they got wrong and what they ain't yet figured out and all that stuff. So he can come off kind of as a as a sandpaper kind of personality, but he means well. He's got a good heart.
So he's like the top dog of the area.
He likes to think so, for sure.
Okay.
When Foster shows up, he sort of challenges him, and then it's this kind of tug of war between who is really the top dog around here.
Yeah. Cool. So I know that you came in on a little bit of a short notice to this role. Can you tell us a little bit about that, how difficult that was for you, and how you've gone into the role on such short notice?
Yeah, so unfortunately someone did drop, the person who had this role before, from the production, and Linda, the director, actually messaged me on Saturday and was like, hey, would you be at all interested in playing a cowboy in a show that I'm doing? And I was like, play a cowboy? Sure, why not? And she, when I spoke to her about it, she was like, well, when I thought of someone who could memorize lines fast and someone who'd make a great cowboy, I immediately thought of you. And well, I mean, that's kind of the greatest compliment I've ever been paid. So awesome. I was quick to hop on and really, really glad to help out. And for me, thankfully, I something about memorizing lines for me is it comes so natural. So the first rehearsal that I showed up for, we were rehearsing Act 1 of the play, and everyone in the room was shocked the moment that I started doing that scene and I didn't have my book.
Oh my gosh.
And they're like, wait, are you off book already? And I'm
wait a second.
Yeah, guys, I'm here to help. You know?
I'm a professional.
Consummate professional, yes. But no, I think there's some part of me that really likes kind of the pressure of coming into something like this on short notice and really having to dive in deep and find answers and just be prepared for anything. It adds a whole other layer of challenge to everything.
It does. It really does.
I really enjoy.
I have done that a couple different times as well. And there is a huge challenge to coming in after everybody kind of already has their characters together.
For sure. And I have to say, I've been really, really blessed by how comfortable all of my co-stars have made me feel coming into this and everything. There was definitely just a feeling of relief when I showed up that day, and you know, and I'm thankful that everyone was so welcoming whenever I came into this production. So.
Yeah, it's really nice to have that in theater.
Yes.
Welcoming space.
Yeah.
Describe your last experience on stage.
Well, ironically enough, it was playing a cowboy. So
of course it was.
Hopefully I don't get typecast, but so it was.
You might start getting typecast
right?
at this point.
Be like, cowboy, let's get that Joseph guy. He does that all the time.
Yeah, get him on board.
I was playing a cowboy in a Western version of Othello for Murfreesboro Little Theater's Backyard Bard. That was 2 years ago. That was the last time I actually performed on stage. I had been rehearsing after that to be in a production of God of Carnage at MLT. Unfortunately, that was the same time that the city of Murfreesboro decided to tear down the Little Theater. Oh. So we were in dress week whenever the theater got torn down. Goodness. So we were about to go up, and then
that's heartbreaking.
And then the next show I did was Midsummer Night's Dream, which was last year, which we were in rehearsal in March. when COVID happened and everything got all shut down. So I had 2 shows in a row that it was like
ripped from underneath you.
Yes. So technically, that last character I played was Cowboy Rodrigo in Othello, but not for lack of trying.
You have been trying.
Yes.
Yeah, that sucks, but that's really cool that you're carrying on the tradition of the cowboy.
I've been telling people I'm picking up exactly where I left off.
Yeah, it sounds like it. What types of roles do you see yourself playing in the future? You've talked about your cowboy roles. Do you think you're going to get another cowboy role after this?
I mean, I really enjoy playing cowboys. They're very fun because they're very different from who I am as a person. And you always love playing opposite to whatever you are in real life and sort of putting that mask on and getting to really live something else. And also, cowboys are a great excuse to play cliches. Usually that's a bad thing in acting, but cowboys is like, no, just lean into that stuff.
Yeah.
It's fun. As far as roles after this, I mean, I just really love being in shows and being in plays and being involved in the community, in theater, in whatever way I can. So anytime a show really sparks my interest, I'm that person that shows up and I don't write like I'm here for this role. I'm just like, I'll take anything.
You're just here to be a part of it.
Exactly.
To be a part of theater.
Yeah.
That's really cool. What has been your most challenging role to date?
Most challenging role. I'd have to say probably a character named Raul, who was a very monstrous individual in a show called Extremities, which I don't know if you're familiar with that show, but that show is the brief rundown is that the character Raul is a violent criminal and a rapist who invades the home of 3 women and tries to assault them. However, the 3 women turn the tables on him and they wind up actually sort of tying him up, sticking him in a fireplace. And the rest of the show is him being in that fireplace and them trying to decide what they're going to do with him. Are they going to kill him? Are they going to let him go? What kind of punishment does he deserve? That kind of stuff. Ooh. And so, on top of just having a ton of lines, being shoved in a fireplace for an hour and a half is pretty rough. And then not to mention just the headspace that you have to go to play a person like that is just... fun is not the right word for it.
It's not. There are some characters that are villains that are really fun to play, but something like that is a whole different level.
For sure.
That takes some serious headspace and not necessarily wanting to get into that, but
yeah. There were definitely some nights of doing that show and just being like, man, I don't want to go to that place tonight. But you do it, you get into it, and when you have good co-stars and everything like that, and the other actors are into it. I mean, once you start, it's like, nope, I'm in it.
Right.
This is cool. This is an important
Everybody's
show.
on board. Everybody feels comfortable with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow, that's a serious role there.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Very much so.
Where do you practice your loud vocal exercises?
In the car. Mainly, I do a lot of driving for work, so
that works out.
Yeah. Whenever I'm just going here or there in the car, or just in day-to-day life, if I'm in the car alone, I will practice lines and practice voices and accents and do all that. And sometimes I do that at home. I have to tell my partner Sierra, I'm like, you may want to put on headphones because I'm going to be doing
Don't
this.
Listen for me.
You're going to be hearing these same words being repeated about 150 times. So, but yeah, no, the car is my safe space for vocal exercise.
It is a fun place to get to explore different characters and voices and everything.
Also, if somebody pulls up next to you at a red light, you're screaming. They're not asking questions. They're like, oh, he's just having a rough day. No, I'm rehearsing for a play.
Or they'll just give you a weird look.
Yeah.
What are you doing, buddy? You are also a director.
Yes.
Can you share some of your experiences on directing?
So the last show I directed was Hedda Gabler, which was an MLT production back in 2018, 2017. Getting my years mixed up. But no, that was that was a really fun show to direct. There's obviously a lot of prestige with anything Henrik Ibsen. And I remember in college when I first read that play in a play reading course, I was just like struck by how relevant it was for something that was written back in the 1800s. And I took the idea of, you know, what Ibsen is communicating in that, which is that like some women obviously don't want to fit in this like domestic lifestyle. That's just not for them. Of course, in the 1800s, that was not okay.
Yeah, kind of frowned upon.
But even today, in some circumstances, it's frowned upon if women or men in some cases don't fall into these little well-shaped holes for them to just fit into society. And so I took the idea for that show and made it fit kind of like a 1950s Leave It to Beaver style, like American Dream style idea, and just sort of communicated that, you know, just because this thing was written way back in the 1800s doesn't mean it's still not relevant today.
There's a lot of stuff that's from that time period or even before that is very relevant today.
Yes, yeah, and I find that so interesting that we can go hundreds of years in society and still have these same issues that are still so relevant, and still we just kind of turn a blind eye to it. And just like, oh no, it's fine. We'll get to it eventually. It's like, no, we should be talking about this stuff.
Yeah, that's why we're still talking about it. We haven't solved the issues.
Yep.
Yeah, that's really cool though. That sounds like a good show.
I was partial to it. I really enjoyed what we did with that show. I had a lot of good actors, Patty Longley, Jamie Stevens, Alec Lanter, Rob DeHoff, Chris Wagner, just really, really great. Darby McCarthy. I had a really, really great lineup.
That sounds
for
like
a cast.
Great cast.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, what would you suggest to the budding actors that are wanting to get into theater and live their dreams as actors?
Come out and audition. Come out and just introduce yourself, jump in whatever way you can. Community theater gets a bad rap for being kind of, cliquey, and people are like, well, people in community theater only want to do stuff with their friends, but in my experience, that's not completely true. There's always a concentrated effort, especially whenever I direct, to take new faces that I see and try and find a place for them to fit in and bring them in and introduce them and make them a part of the show. So it's actually, in my opinion, it can sometimes be easier to get cast in the show being new than it is being cast in the show and like everyone knows you, because there is a concentrated effort to keep bringing new people into theater. So yeah, my main advice is just show up to auditions, introduce yourself, and hopefully you can find a new home.
That's awesome. Yeah, it is always fun going to a new theater and just introducing yourself for the first time, starting over somewhere. So that's really cool. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. If you want to come see The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, go to bravoboro.com and get some tickets. Thank you so much.